You know, it's funny, the last few months, a lot of people have asked me this one question, a lot of women certainly, if I loved my wife. And I used to get that question and I would get kind of defensive. Like, why are you asking me that question? Why do you ask me if I love my wife? I'm just telling stories. Some people think I'm disparaging when I tell stories about my wife and her alcoholism. She passed away from alcoholism a little over 4 years ago. We were married for 25 years. If this is the first time you're seeing me, this may not make a whole lot of sense, but I made many videos about a lot of the craziness that she went through, that our family went through, that we went through together, driving through our house, breaking toilets in hotel rooms, flooding out hotel rooms, passing out in restaurants, having to carry her from one place to another, and a lot of other embarrassing moments. And I tell them in great detail the many times that she had, real physical problems and went through dry heaves and, all those things that are attached to it. And I don't understand why people were asking me why I love my wife. And I realize if that's all you see is me telling these stories, you wouldn't understand that side of it. Let's continue this a little further. I think what a lot of people don't understand, unless they've been in this situation, there's really no way you could understand unless you've had an alcoholic in the family, or if you've had some bout of alcoholism yourself and really survived. But families, it is an unbelievable amount of stress and angst and frustration. People ask me if you love your wife. Well, if you have a son or a daughter, of course you love them, but you also are exhausted emotionally, physically, and every other way. Mentally, you're exhausted because what you don't understand is that it is a journey into madness, and you cannot look at it through rational eyes because an alcoholic, someone who suffers from alcohol use disorder, is not a rational person. And unfortunately, all the crazy things that they do, DUIs or getting in accidents or making, just a fool out of themselves, none of it has anything to do with the people around them. It's something that's going on within that person. And the one thing you have to understand is you can't take it personally. So when I tell these stories, I'm not disparaging my wife. I'm using them as an example to help others, maybe to relate to it, number one, and number two, maybe use it as a deterrent for someone who's in that same situation, because dying from alcoholism is not only horrible for the family, dying from alcoholism is a painful way to leave this earth. And I don't talk about my wife because I got nothing better to do and I'm airing like my dirty laundry out. I always found that kind of weird too. This is all choreographed. There's a reason why I tell these stories, mainly because I do have a memoir coming out, which officially, after talking to the editor today, we're going to get the book released in September. So it'll be out within a couple of months. And it's a very in-depth story. It's a very personal story, and it's one I think that will be better understood when you know the whole story. When you get little bits and pieces of the madness, it's hard to really understand the big picture. But to answer your question, yes, of course I love my wife. The problem is when she passed away, you're exhausted emotionally and you've really forgotten the person who once existed. That's the hardest part. And I think for families who do lose an alcoholic in their family, or they're struggling with an alcoholic in their family, whatever the relationship, could be a parent, a child, or a spouse, or some other important relationship or friend, whatever it is. I think the biggest thing is just looking at it through rational eyes and feeling the pain of, well, they left you. Essentially, if they die, they left you. They made a choice, and alcohol won that choice. But rest assured, you have to understand that it's not personal and that it was never about you as a family member, even if it is a spouse, even if you are the parent, or even if you're the child. It was never about you. It was whatever was going on in their brain. And for the most of us, we will never really know the real reason. Was it trauma? Who knows? The specific trauma, I have good ideas of why things happen with Amanda, but we will never know for sure. And for other families going through this, I hope that helps. And again, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, I help families and alcoholics. I like to bring them together. The link is in the bio. The call is free. Set up a Zoom call and the calendar link. We also have a Facebook group called Amanda, a cautionary tale of alcoholism. It's become a very good support group, and we talk about alcoholism and everything related to it. And again, please like, share, and comment. And thanks for listening.